The world is changing. Whether you want to admit it or not, the world is changing. But the good news is I think it's changing for the better. I think people are finally starting to wake up. And I hate that phrase. I think that phrase is overused way too often. People are waking up. I'm not talking like the woke fucking liberal bullshit. I'm not talking about that. Okay. I'm not talking about the ABC people. Okay. I think the world is genuinely changing for the better. I think people are beginning to realize the hardships that come with technology, the separation, the loneliness, the depression, the anxiety. I mean, you look back 100 years from now, like let's go back 100 years, right? I'm not saying the world was a better place, but we sure as shit didn't have as many problems with mental health. Maybe we did. We didn't know about it. I don't know. But from my fucking perspective, from my personal lifetime, even from me growing up as a kid to where I am now, I've seen a massive increase in all of these problems with mental health. And I want to say we're in a transitional period where, you know, everything's like a fucking circle, right? You go up and down, up and down, up and down, or around and around and around. So eventually you go all the way down and you come back full circle. And I think we've finally hit that peak where people are beginning to go full circle, where we realize this massive jump in technology and advancements in just simple conveniences. We're starting to realize, okay, there's a lot of good that came out of this, but there's a lot of bad too. And we're starting to realize what that bad is. And I think we're learning to adapt as people, as a society. We're learning to adapt with the technology we've been given. And I think it's ironic because I don't want to say technology is slowing down, but it seems like for a minute it's been on pause. You know, it's been on pause. I feel like technology almost goes faster than people, and eventually we're going to advance ourselves out of society. You know, you have the AI shit's going crazy right now. Dude, my YouTube will not stop recommending how to make $1,000 a week using AI. I don't know. But I think people are finally starting to catch a grip of what they need to do, which is nice. It's almost like you see the world's getting quieter in a sense of drama, the BS, we're dramaed out. As people, we're dramaed out. We're over it. It was fun for a while, and now we're over it. The world is slowly going back to reality. Which, actually, going back, let me jump back. I'm going to go off topic for a second. You know, everyone's been making videos recently of how to make money doing this, how to make money doing that. And it makes a lot of sense, especially in society now when we're going through such a fucking inflation and people are struggling. I mean, for me, I'm 23 years old and I feel like I'm doing pretty good. And even I'm like, fuck, man, I gotta, check my bank account, make sure this is gonna work out, that's gonna work out. Like, I feel like I'm on my toes and I compare myself to everybody else and I'm like, how in the fuck is anybody else making it nowadays? Like, you really gotta be cruising, you know what I mean? You gotta be set up. We as people need some sort of recession. We need some sort of reset because this is getting out of hand. When I feel like I'm already above average and doing extremely well, and I feel like I'm struggling, I cannot imagine what everyone else is going through right now. So if you're one of those people that's, pinching pennies and you're trying to get by, I am so sorry. I am so sorry. Granted, with that said, we do live in an era where the potential to make money is higher than it's ever been. There's 1,000,001 things you can do right now to make money, which really goes on to ask the question, what do you want? Some people want money. I think some people want freedom. They want their time. And then some people want purpose. I would say I fit in the purpose category. I've had a lot of opportunities to make a ton of money in my lifetime. And I've said no to every single one because why? I just don't see it. I don't see it. And I think that's okay. I think that is perfectly okay. Um, I almost feel like the money I get, I don't know what I'm gonna do with it, right? So if I did make a ton of money, I genuinely don't know what I'd do. But the other part of it is like, as long as I can pay the bills, feed my cat, have a nice dinner every once in a while, and take care of people, that's all I care about. That's all I care about. I really don't need anything extra. So if I were to make money, it has to be something I'm passionate about. It absolutely has to be. And I've recently gone on to this topic of like stoicism and the stoic mindset, which is, this idea that materialism, wealth, money, power, all of it, it's neither good nor bad. It just is. It just is. And I love that because I don't know why I just never stumbled across stoicism in my entire life. But I always thought that way, and I just was like, it's just a thing. I don't know. It just doesn't apply to me. I don't get it. Well, while I'm in the position I'm in, I will do what I can do. But let's say all of this was stripped away tomorrow. I think I don't know, go walk around and explore. That sucks. I know. A lot of people are like, what the fuck are you talking about? There's fucking homeless people everywhere, blah, 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 blah. I get it. What I'm saying is that I'm so hell-bent on my idea of happiness being perspective, with what I have and what I don't, that I really can't measure my happiness on a sense of materialism or what I have and what I'm doing, because to me, it's just a matter of living in which the circumstance I've given gives me certain opportunities, and back and forth and vice versa, whatever the fuck. And it's like, if I'm here right now with the opportunity I have, right, then I'm going to do everything I can to give as much to the world as possible. And I'm working on it. It's a challenge to do that and do it for yourself as well. But the other part of that is like, really just, what do you want? What do you want? And keep it simple, There's no reason for you, when people set these expectations and these goals that are so high, what happens when you get there? What? What happens when you get there? Then what? And you chase 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 and you just eat yourself alive. The simple shit, man. The coffee in the morning, the sunlight, fresh air, the simple shit like that. That's what you should live for. And it takes time. It takes time to get there. And I've gone into this topic of changing the way you think. And while it is true, you are, neuroplastic. You can change the way you think. It's about doing. You have to be doing something in order to change the way you think. You have to be actively engaged in some sort of physical action. We talk about this with depression, anxiety, motivation. I used to think for the longest time I needed to find a way to change the way I think and to shift my brain into some motivational power. Fucking scrolling trying to find that that video that gets to me and unlocks this level of motivation. And then I thought, I don't know if that'll ever work for me. It's been years now and I'm not going anywhere and it never works. And I end up just finding myself scrolling through YouTube, TikTok, Instagram for hours and hours on end. And I thought, instead of trying to find something that would mentally motivate me, what if I could just copy the physiological response? What if I went backwards, right? So when we think about motivating ourselves, we think about, we see something that triggers our adrenaline, gets our heart rate up, yada, 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 and then boom, we're motivated, right? Well, what if I just said, fuck the first step? What if I just increase my heart rate and try to boost my adrenaline? What if I just reversed it altogether? What if I just reversed it entirely? And then all of a sudden I started doing that. I was like, well, fuck, I don't need to be motivated. I just need to get my heart rate up. So I started doing some crazy fucking breathing. And then, you start, I don't know, you start doing literally whatever you can to trigger your adrenaline, fucking jumping jacks. I don't know, whatever it is for you. I was like, I just need to spike my adrenaline. So I would do whatever I could to spike my adrenaline, and then all of a sudden I like jumpstart myself into motivation. And it's the same thing like with anxiety. It was like, okay, well, I have this anxiety because I'm so fixated on one specific topic, and no matter what I do, I cannot stop thinking about it. Well, if I jump into a freezing cold fucking lake, I promise you're going to forget everything you were thinking about. Your body goes into survival mode. So it's almost like you're finding a way to use your body's natural human instincts against it. I mean, your brain wasn't designed to make you happy. Your brain's designed to keep you alive. Plain and simple. It's up to you to figure out how to work around the society we live in today to make you happy. That's what you have to do. That is what you have to do. I'm going on so many tangents right now. My brain is scattered. Again, I always say this, but I don't know if these podcasts are for you or if they're for me, because my brain just goes and goes and goes and goes and goes, and I think about all these different topics, and it's just it absolutely baffles me. Something I was thinking about the other. So I write down topics throughout the week. Shit just comes to me. You know, I'll be doing some random ass thing and I fucking see something and I'm like, oh my God, what is that? And I like write it down. I was like, I got to talk about that in the podcast. But it was this idea. Some people are just awake. I don't know how to, I really hope you guys understand what I'm saying. I don't know how to describe it other than that. Some people are just awake. They're perfectly clear. It's like you meet certain people or you see certain people and you wonder how could they be living in the same life I'm living, and they seem so capsulated. Does that a fucking, they seem so condensed in such a simple mindset. I don't, like, they just don't ask questions, or they don't wonder about things, or they're not curious, and they're just here. It baffles me. I don't want to be rude and say they're like NPCs, but to a certain extent, I feel like so many people are like NPCs. They're just here existing, but who are they? What do they think about when they're alone? I don't understand. Do they think at all? You see some people and you just wonder, do they have a single thought going on in their head? Granted, most of them look happy. They seem content. They seem like they have no problems in the world. Or maybe they're the absolute opposite. Maybe they have a million thoughts going through their head. They're just dead silent. I don't know. And it baffles me, but it's just, you meet certain people that just have this thing to them. You just feel like they're one of you. They get it. You synchronize. Before you even meet the person, you just know there's a vibration you sense that you just understand this person on such a spiritual level. I don't know. It baffles me. But on that topic of like, are they asking questions? Are they curious? So many people have these problems in life. In a day of modern society where we have things like fucking Google and the internet and millions upon millions upon millions of resources to give you answers. And it baffles me how many people go through problems every day that just don't ask questions. Or if they do, maybe they don't ask the right questions, or it's almost like they don't know where to find the answers. I don't know. But I've always thought any problem I ever had in my entire life, I just Googled it. I would Google it, and most of it was ads and marketing and blah, blah, blah. So you skim through all the bullshit. And eventually now I just start going to Reddit. I trust a Reddit forum or a Quora forum more than I trust anything else. You read something on Reddit, 9 times out of 10, somebody doesn't just give you an answer, but they say, so-and-so, I found this here, here, and here, and here. And then you go, it's almost like people just hand you the gold nuggets of information. So I wondered, with all these people wondering all these different things and dealing with all these problems, are they asking the right questions? And if they are asking the right questions, how hard are they looking for answers? And so it baffles me as to where's the barrier. Is it that the answers are too hard to find? Does it not hurt that much that you just don't want to dig? Have you read millions of answers and nothing has still worked? And if nothing still worked, how hard did you try? Every problem you have ever had, somebody has already solved it at one point or another. So I don't understand the roadblock there. For me personally, I'll tell you fucking straight up. I'll ask questions, and 9 times out of 10, if I can't solve a problem, it's my fault. I either stopped looking, I gave up, it didn't hurt enough for me to keep trying, or I found all the answers I needed and never gave it a running shot. So that's on me. It's a sense of ownership. Like, I'll fucking own that, especially because I went years and years and years of still having the same problem until finally I was like, fuck, I really need to try. And I would stick to something long enough, and then eventually it fixed my problem. And I was like, holy shit, I found my answer the first try. I just never actually gave it a valiant effort. So, are you asking the right questions? I don't know. Who do you surround yourself with? What's your so many people go through shit and they deal with things and they feel like the world's out to get them. Have you ever heard the phrase, you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with? That is so true. We have an innate instinct to blend in, to be a part of something, to not stand out, because to stand out is to have a target on our back, for good or for better, or for better or for worse. It is to have a target on your back. So we naturally, through our subconscious, learn to adopt certain behaviors and characteristics that we surround ourselves with. And so what is your environment? Look at your house. Does your house represent your mind? Does your room represent your brain? Is it clean? Is it crisp? Is it organized? Or is it cluttered? Is it confused? Look around you. What is your environment doing to you? What is it teaching you? What is it influencing? This is why I always say the fastest way to change your life is to unfollow everybody that is distracting you. Unfollow everyone that is bothering you, that upsets you. Unfollow the people you envy. There is a difference between people you look up to and people you envy. And you need to learn the difference. Unfollow them. When I am going down a certain passion or a certain avenue and I find somebody that does it way better than me, I cannot help but to envy them. And it might be good. I look at that person and I admire them. It's an admiration. But it is toxic because I get discouraged and I get sad, or I get upset, I get depressed. So I unfollow them. And then years go by and I make progress, and then I see them again and I think, wow, congratulations. I am happy to see them doing so good. But at the moment, I did not have the character in me to look at that and not have some sense of toxicity behind it. I had to develop that over time, but I would not develop that if I was just constantly drowning in it. Who are you? Just unfollow. Get the fuck off of social media. Especially if you're a creator, you need to have some sort of rule that you will be there for output, not input, right? And you think, well, Zane, you're all over social media, on every site. How can you preach this? It's because the people I'm trying to help, the people I'm trying to save, I know this is where they are. This is where they are. It's a rescue mission. I can't rescue them without getting involved. But I set a rule for myself. I spend as much time as possible reminding myself that it is output, not input. The only time I try to actively engage in social media is when I'm doing research, or I'm trying to stay on topic or stay in touch with what's going on or what I plan to talk about. If I have questions, yada, yada, yada. But it's output, not input. And the only input I receive, right? Because if you open up an app, you're hit with input in milliseconds, right? So you need to find a way to guide that. Set some boundaries. So I hardly follow anybody. If you look at all of my social medias, I hardly follow anybody, and every month or so, I usually clean it out. My worst platform for sure is Twitter. I just fucking hate Twitter. I don't know how to input or output on Twitter. I don't like Twitter. But Instagram is where I spend most of my time. Instagram is definitely where I put in the most effort across all my platforms because it tends to perform the best. But I focus all of my energy on output, not input. And all the input I do receive are people I choose to follow because they either do what I do or they motivate me on some sort of level. But I never get distracted, or I try not to get distracted. It's all about environment control. You have to control your environment. This was, okay, so this next idea is one I was thinking about today. We suffer as people. You know that. We all suffer on some sort of level. And it's this suffering of, do I want to deal with the pain of work, discipline, and success, or do I want to deal with the pain of procrastination, distraction, and personal resentment almost? So I've always thought about this. I thought I will find myself in these episodes where I get lost on social media, right? Or I get lost in some sort of distraction. And the only reason I am indulging in these distractions is because I don't want to deal with the effort and the stress of getting out of bed and putting in the work. I just don't. I don't. And so I don't. I distract myself until eventually I have to get up. And I suffer. And you realize you made a mistake because you traded the long-term dopamine and the long-term satisfaction for that short-term quick fix. And you suffer. And I thought, I'm going to suffer either way. You have to accept that. I am going to suffer either way. But one will be an endless black hole that gets worse and worse and worse, and the other one will eventually start to fade. So I can work and I can grind and I can do everything in my power to improve my life and to excel and to succeed. And eventually it becomes habit, you get used to it, and it becomes a normal routine, and eventually it becomes fun and it's rewarding, and then all of a sudden you're like, holy shit, I've changed my life. And one, you just sit there and you just watch and scroll and watch and scroll, and everything around you crumbles. But it doesn't matter because you're too fucking distracted to notice. That's the whole point. That is the whole point. But I figured I know what I'm doing. If I catch myself in these episodes, I know what I'm doing. I know it's going to suck when I get out of bed. I know I'm going to suffer. And if I get out of bed right then and there, I know I'm going to suffer. So I figured, you know what? Fuck it. I might as well choose my suffering, right? I would rather suffer for the short term and benefit in the long run than have some fun now and just suffer forever. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. The world is so interesting. Trying to balance. Is balancing real? Can you actually balance your life? They say put all your eggs, or don't put all your eggs in every basket, but then you seem to spread yourself thin. And when you spread yourself thin, you just do a half-ass shit job about everything. I found it much easier to put all my eggs in one basket and to just watch the basket carefully. I'm going to give you guys some fucking homework. I just triggered like half of the audience. I'm going to give you some homework. It's okay. My homework is fun and actually does something for you. Society will change when our education system does. Anyways, I have a book for you to read. You can knock this book out in like 2.5 hours. I promise. If you get on Audible and like set it on like 1.5 times speed, I always listen to it on my drives. I spend maybe 10, 15-minute intervals in my car going going to the work to gym, home, whatever. I can knock out this book in like a day or two. But it's phenomenal. It is amazing. I love this book. I'm gonna read it over and over and over and over again until I memorize it. I love it. I love it. It has taken so much weight off my shoulders. But it is The One Thing by Gary Keller. Read that book. The One Thing by Gary Keller. That book is it's 5 hours long, but like I said, set it on 1.5 times speed. You'll still understand it, I promise. And you get it done in 2.5 hours. It is amazing. It is phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. You want to learn how to organize your life. You want to learn how to control everything, how to balance work, relationships, all of it. You want to learn how to balance and manage your business, your grinds, your passions, your hobbies, where to put your effort, how to stop burning out. Read this book. This book is phenomenal. Anyways, I love you guys. Thank you so much for listening. Again, I don't know if this is for me or for you, but I hope you all have a wonderful, 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 wonderful day. It's always kind of therapeutic to do these podcasts, and I truly enjoy it. And my mom asked me the other day, she was like, what's the goal with these podcasts? She asked me, she's like, are you doing it for you? Or are you doing it for them? And I told her, I was like, I struggle to find ways to help people because I don't have people that come to me with specific problems, but I have people that tell me they're struggling, and I can look at the world and I know the world's struggling. Problem is I don't know what answers to give them. I have all these answers and I just don't know which ones to pull from. So if I just rant and give out all my thoughts, I'm hoping there's something in these podcasts that somebody hears and they goes that, they think that's it and it clicks. I'm hoping something in all the words that I just blatantly spill all over the place, something lands with somebody. I think they do. I think these help. And if they don't help other people, then that's fine. They help me. They help me kind of release all my thoughts. Because I think a lot, and I can't turn off my fucking brain. It's a gift and a curse. To be honest, does it suck? Yes. Would I be where I am today without it? Absolutely not. It's a speed I love. I just need to learn how to control it. It's like taking your pets for a walk. These are my walks. The podcasts are my walks. I got to give my brain a walk every now and then. All right. You guys have a wonderful day. I love y'all. God bless. I will see you all next week. Please comment, text me, DM me, talk to me, guys. Talk to me. All right. Deuces.